I was 8 years old and only lived with my drunk father who never came home sober. It was a sketchy area. However, I was afraid of the dark as most children are. I slept with nightlight that illuminated from the wall across from my mattress on the floor. I had my reasons to be afraid of the dark. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia at an early age in life, which meant I had hallucinations which set me apart from all the normal children of my age group. And there was always the old dripping of the old sink in the bathroom right next to me, and the floorboards just made me feel all scared. I awoken several times to the sound of my father and his drunken friends downstairs making noise, so I shut my door and locked it, just in case he tried to come in here like he did the past few nights. Then it started to rain, which kept me up even more, until I decided at 6 a.m. to get ready for school. I had my fair share of bullies like most kids do. However, I was different. I had seizures due to the fact I fell off a swing when I was at the playground when I was 5 years old. Hit my head, really bad that day. So I put my mask on I used to keep my bruises and scars hidden. And of course, I wore goth-like clothing. I got dressed. I did not eat anything and ran downstairs, opened the front door, and rushed to my bus stop. 10 minutes later, the bus arrived. I got on it and sat in the middle row because the popular kids would sit in the back. Being me, of course, I wanted nothing to do with them. When I arrived at school an hour later, I was the last one to get off the bus. And of course, this being 5th grade, I went to my locker and got the things I needed for class that day. And when I got to class, it wasn't much better than at home. I isolated myself in the back of the class in the corner. But then, while I was reading, one of those popular jerks snatched my book and tore it apart. Being the quiet and outcast I was, of course, I said nothing and just stared at him while his friends laughed and pointed at me. The loudmouthed teacher shouted, "Jason Niles! Why are you talking to the popular kids?" I hesitated for a second to not speak, and of course, I said nothing. The teacher shouted again, "Jason Niles, speak to me!" I never said a word to him, and picked up the remaining pieces of my book and walked out of class glaring at the popular kids. Those jerks ran after me and pinned me against my locker. I tried to fight back, but my schizophrenia caused an hallucination which scared me so much. "Niles, why do you look so scared seeing another hallucination?" Jack exclaimed out loud. I did not reply. The bell rang and it was time for recess. I ran outside to a bench behind the school and started on a new book. I noticed the gang leader and his gang smoking nearby. They noticed me and nodded towards me. Of course, me being the shy kid I was, I never nodded back. Then those popular jerks came up to me. Jack shoved me against the wall as the gang members and the leader walked towards Jack and revealed their pocket knives. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no need to pick on the kid." "Raven," the gang leader said to Jack as Jack replied with, "Well, he's a wimp." As soon as Jack noticed the pocket knives, him and the other kids ran. I fell to the floor as Raven grabbed my hand, helping me up. I gladly grabbed his hand and got up. "So kid, what's your deal?" Raven asked, trying to sound polite. I said, Well, I'm schizophrenic. Was born one." Raven seemed shocked as he nodded. "Well then, have those 5 always been giving you trouble?" Raven asked as I nodded. "Well, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Raven, the gang leader. This is Mike and Ellie, my only 2 gang members with me as of now. We're looking for new members, if it seems to sound cool to you." Raven asked as I replied with, "Well, yes, of course." Fast forward to the age of 16. The gang was the only real family I knew. But of course, I was still shy. It was my first month of high school and of course, Jack was there, and his little popular group. Jack laughed and pointed to me. "Oh look, it's Niles." They all laughed at me. "Is your little gang nowhere to be found, Niles?" Jack asked, giggling. I shook my head. No, they're not. The bell rang, and it was time for homeroom, so I went to class like everyone else did. However, little did I know this was the last day of my life. Jack and his group of friends saw me walking home and decided to jump me, and little did they know, something in my mind told me to harm them. Raven gave me a pocket knife when I became an official member of the gang, so I was fighting back and they yanked the knife from me and stabbed me to death. It was all over the news and everything. Jack and his popular group got away with murder. I awoke 4 years later in a hospital bed. The hospital staff stitched me up, and my face was all wrapped in bandages. Turns out, Jack left me there, and I was found by an ambulance driving by and was scooped up and brought here. I sighed getting up as the nurse sitting in the chair nearby noticed me and said, "Oh my God, he's awake!" I found a note next to me covered in blood. It was a note containing my bloody pocket knife Raven found in the woods nearby. "You're lucky to be alive, Niles," Raven said walking in, hugging me tightly. "Sucks what they did to you." I was stitched up. I had stitches on my face and everything. My skin was pale, but not very pale. Turns out, I had an allergic reaction to the cement nearby. I walked out silent as ever. I put my pocket knife in my pocket. I felt enraged after what Jack did to me, so I escaped into a nearby skateboard park. It was dark already. I saw Jack walking towards the skateboard park all alone, so I decided, why not kill him? So I said, "Hey Jack, follow me for a second?" Jack nodded and followed me into a nearby alley, and I stabbed him to death. Many more victims would be found with their wounds stitched up, but still dead.